Now, if we peel the whole mindset of Agile with that understanding that we have around Agile, and we took it to what has really changed when we look at the fundamental shift that we've been talking about in most of the cases. A couple of years ago, when it was all about the projects, we used to think about, okay, project, we have a project, we need to finish the project, but it's fundamentally moved also or changed from that aspect to mostly now, what kind of product are we going to output at the end of the day? It's no longer focused on the project, but how are we doing with the product? We're no longer focused on the scope, but how can we drive value? We're no longer focused on output, but we're more focused on outcome. We're no longer focused only on the return on investment because we realize that the more value we can deliver, the more in return on investment we can have. And those are some of the mindset shifts that we refer to when we talk about Agile and the way it starts getting us to start becoming more innovative in our thinking, in our approach, and in the way we do things. So if you asked me, in order for us to be innovative, or the way if we wanted to understand the role Agile plays, is that it helps us have that fundamental shift in mindset, looking at things from a different lens and trying to do things from a different lens, and not also seeing failure as the end of it all, but rather looking at it as more of something that gives us the opportunity to learn. So rather than thinking of it that I have failed or we have failed in delivering a certain solution, we see that it's a challenge. And with every challenge comes the opportunity. And if you see the challenge, that creates an opportunity. An opportunity creates the chances for us to learn from it and actually convert those to strengths, which makes us start thinking about things in a very innovative way and think of ways to do things differently and get better results. And that's the fundamental shift we're seeing a lot happen in organizations today. I don't know how familiar we are with the State of Agile report. But the State of Agile report, the 15th annual State of Agile report, it really tells that a lot of organizations and companies, as a result of COVID, have really gone on a rapid adoption of the Agile way of doing things because it forced the hands of a lot of organizations to really think outside the box, to really think innovative. I give you an example. A couple of organizations I worked for in the past that had the no work from home policy, within 3 weeks had to stand up solutions to support the work from home policy. Because in that instance, employees could not work from the office. Everybody had to work from home in some cases, especially except you maybe had people who their jobs were really tied to them being there in person to do the work. So if you never organizations that didn't have a work from home policy as a result of not seeing any need to have that policy in place, they didn't have the infrastructure. And not having the infrastructure inhibited their ability to do work when COVID struck, which was a main market event that had made the market shift fundamentally in the way we approach things. So you saw organizations last minute scrambling, but thinking of innovative ways to not only set up their workers in a way where they could work remotely, but also start changing the way they deliver their products and services. Whether it was starting of having more curbside service, being able to order online, and then have the products to or sell or have a service that delivers the products to you at home. So it forced people and organizations to start thinking of different ways to get a little more innovative to put their products in front of people and to put their services also in front of people, as well as position their workers to be more effective and be able to work remotely. Now, come back to the challenges that we face post-COVID, though COVID is not completely gone, but we still face that same challenge where organizations, I have a company I consulted for very recently had a scenario where they had a mandate for people to come back into the office at a certain time, and certain people quit. We had several people quit their jobs as a result of that, that they were not going to go into the office, even a very high level executive. So the mindset that we see is not only going to be more of individuals or just organizations, it's also going to impact the way we work. We need to be more innovative in thinking about how do we make it more comfortable for people, especially to really engage in that environment and feel like they are part of the environment, and also be able to enjoy certain aspects of life that they feel it's important to them, which really brings us to the conversation around self-actualization. How do people self-actualize within the context? Because if people are able to self-actualize within the context of work and feel comfortable with the work they do, then they can do more work that can really get them to think outside the box, collaborate more, be more effective and more efficient. And that's how you start seeing those innovative things happen in the workplace or within the context of the organization. So whether we're looking at it from the standpoint of what work would be like, what technology would be like tomorrow, or what anything, the way we run projects, the way we engage and interact with each other in the workplace, everything has to come from a point of agile, being agile with it, being adaptive, being ready to learn and being ready to apply. As a result of us being ready to learn and being ready to apply, that means we need to constantly or continuously explore. And if we're constantly or continuously exploring, that's how we get innovative. And the innovation obviously ties back to us thinking about what could be, or imagining what could be ahead of time, which is the creativity that we seek, right? And that creativity obviously now calls for us to start thinking outside the box and building solutions, or thinking ahead of even the customers of the people we serve in the marketplace. So it's all interconnected and interrelated, if you ask me.